So I'm going to go through kit for you now. This to me is important, is vital, because at the end of the day it helps you lift better and ultimately last longer. Now I'm sure we all want to last longer. So when it comes to kit, now I've got a lot of kit here that I'm going to go through. Don't get me wrong, you don't need to go out and buy all the kit. You don't even need to buy the exact kit that I've got. However, I'm going to explain to you why I use it and the types of kit it is. So I'm going to start from the bottom, working up. Footwear first of all. So now when it comes to footwear, the first lifters that I got with these Adidas lifters, they have lasted me 6-7 years I think now. They've been a great shoe to wear. They're very flat and very solid, but also they're quite heavy. So you know they're a good shoe because you know you're wearing them. But now they've sort of gone to the back of the pile for me, and I now use them for stones only because I don't mind getting tacky on them. I've now sort of like transferred over to these because because they're lightweight. Now these are the new Nike Romaleos, I think they're called. But these are lightweight, and that's why now I prefer these, if I'm honest. Like anything, do they help you? Yes, they do. Overhead, they help you. I'm not a massive fan, of like pulling in them or anything like that, but overheads and squats, they definitely help me in that position. Other than that as well, like a pair of trainers like this, these are Metcons, Nike Metcons. These are a really good durable trainer, and again they're flat-footed. The reason I'm bringing this up, it might sound a bit random to show you a pair of trainers, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people lift in sort of like a really spongy platform shoe, like a running shoe. Now don't get me wrong, I understand why people do it first of all, because they think running shoe it's going to be good for the gym, but actually it's probably one of the worst things to wear. You want something that has literally got a flat sole like this. This is like paper flat. Now the whole point of that is so that you're planted to the floor and you feel like you're on the floor as opposed to bouncing around on a spongy sort of platform. So like don't underestimate what shoes do. Deadlift, take your shoes off, go flat-footed, best thing you can do. Slightly moving up, we're going to go on to knee sleeves. So, obviously I'm sure you know, I'm sponsored by SBD, so I'm not going to say anything other than SBD. No, but honestly, they are an awesome company, not only to work with, but also to be supported by joint-wise. With these, they're for me, they're like a durable sleeve. Now, you get some sleeves that are too tight, some sleeves that are not tight enough. These are sort of like, for me, like the in-between one. So if a sleeve's too tight and you have to take them off in between sets, then they're more likely for a top set sort of thing, where I would much prefer to use wraps for that sort of stuff. So, for example, like throughout a whole leg session, squat session, I'll just wear sleeves. Whereas if I'm going like top sets and like really heavy sets, or if I'm specifically training for a comp that needs wraps, then I'll start to use the wraps. But in regards to a sleeve, this is an awesome one. Again, they're expensive, I know, but they're definitely worth the money. They're just such a great brand to work, to support your legs. I think like the Strength Shot ones, they are good, so they're definitely like, worth having, but these have just got that little bit of an edge on them. When it comes to elbow sleeves, the exact same thing. These, again, are the identical thing, they're just a smaller version. Again, try and look at elbows and knees try and think of a knee sleeve and an elbow sleeve as an extra ligament for you. So like, it's definitely worth having and definitely worth putting on, because imagine if you had another couple of ligaments on your joints. It's going to support you, it's going to make you stronger. That is how I look at them. So it's not like, I don't just warm up without them and then put them on for the heavy sets. Like, think about it as knee health, joint health, whatever, and you're trying to prolong your health within your joints. Then we move on to wraps, which I've just mentioned, but these are the SBD wraps. Again, obviously I get all this kit for free, so I'm going to use it first, but honestly I've used different wraps and different sleeves and stuff. The Strength Shot wraps, yeah, they're great, but these are like super tight, and these are the 3 meter ones, which are a little bit longer. Now don't get me wrong, you don't need to get some wraps, and I get it's a little bit more like an experienced lifter would use them, but this is an opportunity for you to understand what it's about, and if you want to take things a little bit further in and stepping forward, and then these are the sort of things you want to be getting. Wraps will put on 10 to 15 kilogram on top of your lift. So again, if you guys are competing and you're thinking, and you're allowed to use wraps, and you're thinking, shall I use them or not? Use them. That's exactly what I'd say. Because at the end of the day, if you can have that advantage, put it on. With wraps, you have to obviously take time to build into them. I'll do that on another video, so I can show you exactly how to do it. Next, I'll go through belts. So again, SBD belt. This belt is the best belt on the market. It is awesome. I sound like I'm selling it, but I'm not. No, it's a really good, amazing belt. This belt for me is just so much more solid and durable, but also like the buckle is on the opposite side, which is really cool actually. You probably won't know what I mean unless you had a belt, but normally you can only use one size and then you have to unscrew it and change it, whereas you can do multiple sizes on this one. You can change it. Not that you're going to put weight on that quick, but that's how it is. With belts now, you've got this type of belt, which is a lever belt. You've then got a buckle belt, which is this type of belt. Now, I've got both. The buckle belt I only use for like belt cleans. So something that's called a belt clean, where you get an axle bar, you'll hook it onto your belt first, and then you'll hoist it back up, and then you'll press. Now, that's literally the only reason I've got that belt, if I'm honest. Just because the buckle's massive and the bar sits on there with like a shelf with ease. I've tried it with the other one before, but I don't really get on with it, is in regards to that. Belts, like, I wasn't a huge fan of belts once upon a time, probably a year ago, literally 2 years ago maybe, somewhere around there. But I wasn't a big fan of it really. It's like when I was coming out of powerlifting and moving into strongman, that's when I started to sort of appreciate all the different equipment and kit that you could buy, just simply because you're putting yourself through a lot more wear and tear. So at the end of the day, the more you can save your body, the better it is, and the better you'll perform. So yeah, belts I think are really important to have. Next then, so straps, like wrist straps. So these, two different types. You've got figure of eights, which go round like that, round the bar, and then round your hand, and they just hook on like that. You can't tighten these ones up. Whereas then you've got your normal wraps, which you then wrap onto the bar like that, and you can tighten up. Now, if I'm completely honest, I personally prefer these. However, I've got both just because at different points I'll try them. I'll use them in training or use them in competition, depending on what it is. In regards to sort of like, if you get these, make sure you get normal bar ones if you're using it for normal bar, or axle bar if you're using it for axle bar. Axle bar is a 50mm or a 60mm bar, so it's a little bit thicker than the normal bar. So therefore this is that little bit longer on the figure of eights. But again, great things to do, great tools to have if you want to progress your deadlift or any sort of pulling exercises. Next things I'll go through, so wrist wraps. So wrist wraps, again, SBD for me. With these are sort of like your medium length. I don't know exactly what they are as in lengthwise, but these are the medium length and the medium stiffness. So you can get them too short and too stiff. They will then be a problem of really getting them tight. You also only want them on for literally seconds. So this is something that you're able to wear throughout the session, and that's why I prefer this sort of stiffness, because when you need to go tight, you can really go tight, but at least you can sort of twist them off and make them a little bit more easy to wear throughout the whole session. So with these, like again, like Strength Shop, yes, they're fine to use. They've actually brought a really good pair out now, the Strength Shop have, where they're very similar to these anyway. A lot of them copy SBD. They're just not with the big price that SBD has. And then we've got these, which are basically to protect your arms when doing stones. So you'd wrap them around there like that. It does a few things really. It first of all stops you getting tacky all over your body, because tacky is disgusting to get off. and it's tough. It's really hard to get off. But also it stops you scratching. So, for example, in training, I don't tend to use tacky much. I'll only ever use tacky on the day for competition because it helps you then progress that a little bit more. But with this, like, just putting these on quickly and there's already tacky on the stone, it just helps you a little bit more. And it doesn't scratch your arms up as much. Again, I wasn't a fan of these before, but then I started to wear them and I was like, you know what, they're actually quite good to have. They're easy and it's a lot cleaner after you've sort of used them. Last two things. So nose napalm. So this is honestly, this is just a preference thing for me. A lot of lifters have them. A lot of strongmen in particular use it. And it's really like strong smelling salts that you basically, it powers you up and wakes you up. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea, I get that. When I first tried them, they were disgusting, but no, for me now, this is a mindset thing really. It's just about, like, you know, as soon as I open that, sniff that, and I'm in the game, I know I'm in the zone. And it's just one of them things that sort of does help you lift. Once you start using it, it's like anything, once you start using it, you start to know what it is. Talk about mindsetting in the game as well. This gum shield. Again, like, I use a gum shield simply because, well, two reasons. One, I've got a full set of veneers and they're expensive. I don't want to knock them out or grind them out. But secondly, like, again, because of that mindset sort of thing, like, it gets you to know that as soon as the gum shield goes in, it's game time and you've got to lift and you've got to put everything into it. So for me, like, they're more of a mindset thing. But again, like, all these things you've got to think about is it going to make you a better lifter? So that is it ultimately with the kit. There is other things I could show you, but it's just these are the most important things. Now, I'm not saying this. I'm not doing this video now for you to go away and think, "Damn, I've got to spend £500 on all that kit, and I've got to do this, and I've got to be all the gear." No idea. It's not about that. It's literally about understanding that these things can help you and develop you. And again, like everything, I've told you all these, but ultimately it's for you to try it yourself and see if it's something that supports and benefits you. If I was to pick out a list of these things that do definitely help and that I would advise everyone to have, I would definitely say knee sleeves, wrist wraps, and a belt, and potentially some elbow sleeves as well. You're looking at like £100 you can get those for. If you want to go a little bit further, lifters, again, they definitely help you. But again, it's completely up to you on your budget. It's just to sort of understand the kit that I use and why I use it, because a lot of people ask, do they help and what sort of things should you use? So guys, that's the full breakdown of the kit. Any questions or anything that you want help with, fire away to me. I'll give you my best opinion, and yeah, just have a look around and see what sort of kit you see and see what sort of things you want to experiment with.